everyone, we are going to GT Motorcycles in Plymouth, the home of Ducati, Yamaha and Kawasaki down in the south. Let's hit it.
When I'm blue, I think of you in your eyes, how they look at mine, so kinda like that. You slow down time and everything's just fine. I was ocean swimming with just wishful thinking of my life, the vision drifting by, until I found a lighthouse in your heart, shining like a beacon.
So this is the Ducati Scrambler Urban Motard. So think of this as Ducati making a naked sort of off-road bike. You've got a L-twin, about 800 cc's, and it does look pretty good with the colour scheme. Nice how the exhaust as well is kind of the way it's shaped here. That's quite nice. Swing arm looks good, and the seat has red stitching on it as well, so that looks pretty good. Controls are basic. You're not going to expect much from a midweight semi-off-road naked bike. So you've just got your pass beam, you've got your indicators, you've got your horn. You do have modes to choose from, starter, and then you get this display here. Quite a lot to fit in a small display like that, but this motorcycle will be fairly light, so that's pretty good. And you do get things like LED headlights, LED indicators. You get this also nice spoke design here, and you got this like matte metallic black, so it's good. It's a good looking naked semi-off-road bike. You just got to be careful though, because Ducati twin, so it uses belts in order to drive the cams, and you have to change those belts. If you don't and the belts snap, then the cams over the exhaust of the intake valve will smash into the cylinder and you will have a damaged, broken engine. But as long as you're aware of that, it's all good. Well, this is the Ducati Desert X, and it is a bit of a behemoth. So this is adventure off-road bike. You do get monoblock Brembos, so a lot of braking power. And look at that machining there, that's beautiful. And in white, white is a difficult colour to keep clean. It really is an absolute bugger to keep clean. But you do get LED lights, LED indicators, and a whopping great big fuel tank. I mean, just look at the size of that fuel tank. This one again is a twin, so the belts do need changing. You've got a fairly decent amount of power and torque from this. Spoked wheels, which is a nice touch. Also, you see that the seat, yeah, I would expect like more of a rough finish because it's an off-road bike, but actually the seat is very soft. And I kid you not, you get a steering dampener on an off-road bike. You do get things like cruise control, different modes to choose from, which is pretty neat. Mirrors are a good size, and then you get a TFT display. Looks good. That's going to give a fair amount of information. And yeah, build quality is looking actually pretty good, really. The Germans have really helped Ducati, they really have. So yeah, it looks good. Yellow shock at the back. I can't be sure you get a quick shifter, but again, you get a Brembo rear brake as well. So lots of stopping power. Anti-lock brakes are standard, and This is Ducati's superbike. So think of this as literally the only way to describe a superbike is you are riding a warplane. You are riding a jet fighter of the road and the racetrack. 215 horsepower standard and a lot of torque. So 200 miles an hour or more, frighteningly fast, and it's just sensual, gorgeous, beautiful, sexy, just absolutely stunning from every angle, from every view. Ducati red, all Ducati should be red, that is Ducati's colour, and it stands out. V4 superbike engine, lots of power. Single-sided swing arm, very nice. Mattini forged alloy wheels, very high performance. And this one also has the rear seat cover, which is perfect because no pillion's going to hold on to a superbike. Also, you get this racing style fuel cap. You do have electronic O-lins, front and rear, I think. And on a superbike, you get heated grips. You just know the Germans had something to do with that. And you get a massive amount of different modes to choose from there. And then you get a TFT. I would say it's a fairly decent size. Brembo master cylinder, Brembo superbike brakes. Yeah, this is an absolute weapon. It's a jet fighter. LED lights, LED everything. Really, really pretty. But also very expensive. And insurance on something like this is going to be minimum £500. And road tax is going to be 117 at the moment. Yeah. So this is the Ducati Street Fighter V4S Super Naked, and I think it's actually quite an interesting bike because being a Super Naked, you get to see that massive honking, really powerful engine. Get to see it, it's not hidden behind fairings. Yeah, very powerful Brembo, machined monoblock calipers and O-lins front high performance suspension. These do take a bit of criticism because some people say I like the winglets, some people say I hate them. But the reason why Ducati have done this is because they're trying to keep the front wheel down. Because when you begin to wheelie, the only way you can stop the wheelie is you have to turn off the throttle. So this is about you not losing those valuable seconds where you could be on the throttle. That's what it's about. LED, everything, absolutely everything. This is the latest one. This is for 2025. That engine's just magnificent to look at, isn't it? And Ducati have made this change. So they've gone to a double-sided swing arm, and they're saying it's because of rigidity. This gives them more rigidity in the chassis. But I still think it's gorgeous, isn't it? And got the rear seat cover, which is a must on a Super Naked. LED, everything. Look at the carbon effect there. And then I think actually this TFT is a really good size, decent. You could easily read that. Brembo everything, and yeah, even a racing fuel cap. Nice. So this is the Panigale V2. This is Ducati Super Sport. So you only get about 120 horsepower, but you get a lot of torque. You do get monoblock calipers, O-lin front forks, LED lights, and wow. This is a Ducati L twin, so you will have to make sure the belts are changed on this. If you don't change the belts, well, you're about to destroy your engine. So just keep that in mind. Very nice design here. Just imagine a bit of carbon fibre panels here with a full thermogamy system. And it's got the rear seat cover, which is a really good idea. double-sided swing arm for 2025, Brembo caliper, so plenty of stopping power. And you've got this design here, which is kind of mimicking in some ways Kawasaki with the horizontal shock on the Z1000SX. But it's just positioned differently, so that's fascinating, isn't it? And yeah, it's just very pretty to look at from all sorts of different angles. You get a racing fuel cap as well. Super sport, so again you're in the racing position, but you have some pretty decent controls here. You even have cruise control on a super sport, so that's pretty good. TFT does look a bit small though, so I don't know if that's easy to read. I'm not sure, but look at even the aluminium finish here. Seat, very, very soft, feels nice. Well, this is the Ducati Hypermotard 698 Mono RVE. It's a bit of a mouthful, but so this is a supermoto bike from Ducati. You do get this interesting pattern on the alloy wheels with the red and the black. You do get Brembo caliper, but it's not a monoblock because this is a supermoto. But it looks good. The design here, the color scheme, looks quite interesting. Problem though, it's really, really tall. So you can only put one foot down, and you'll say, why is that a problem? Well, I'm guessing if you live in the United States of America, where you have a lot of flat roads, that's not a problem. But in Europe, we have a lot of junctions that are on angles or, awkward camber, and when you can only put one foot down, what if you put your foot down and you put your foot down on gravel, and then you lose it, and then you drop the Ducati on the floor? Being a Ducati, everything here is expensive. That's expensive, that's expensive, the panel's expensive. So that's just something to consider with these supermoto bikes. Biggest, most powerful single cylinder ever created. And you even get things like, wow, it's a really nice rear shot back there. And basic controls. This is only a supermoto, so don't expect things like cruise control or traction control. But you get this mode button here, your indicators, your pass light, and you only get a small display out there. But this is not for me, not for me at all. So this is the Ducati Multistrada V2. So this is Ducati Adventure stroke touring bike. You do get monoblock Brembo, so you've got a lot of stopping power. You've got a very commanding position because you're quite tall. You do have things like these corner lights, which I haven't noticed on the Multistrada before. It's a L twin, which means you do need to change the belts on these. If you don't change the belts, what happens is the either exhaust or the intake valve will smash into the cylinder, and you'll have a very damaged engine that will need a complete rebuild. But you do have you get LED light, everything, LED headlights, LED indicators. It's only whatever that is, so less than 140 horsepower. But you do get a generous TFT, a lot of wind protection because you have a very tall screen. And the aerodynamic fairings as well, and you get your pillion seat. Seats feel pretty comfortable. You feel like the front end is actually quite far away from you, which is probably a design thing. And yeah, just a standard swing arm back here, but it's a good looking swing arm. And it's interesting as well because look, the frame's red, but it's just hidden behind a lot of panels. Yeah, and you do get things like cruise control. You do get different modes to choose from, and your indicators, your horn. This is the latest generation with this kind of electronic micro switch gear, and if you're wearing gloves, I don't think you'll get much feel from these buttons, because I'm not wearing gloves right now, and I don't necessarily feel what these are doing. This one's beastie. This is the Ducati Multistrada V4S. So you've got 170 horsepower and a lot of torque. So this is a very fast super adventure bike. You get massive monoblock calipers, so you have a lot of stopping power. It's a nice colour scheme, LED light everything. You got the front radar here, it's scooped into the nose, which actually does look quite tidy and blends in with the rest of the panels, so nice touch there, Ducati. You've got these like cornering lights or LED lights, and yeah, for a super adventure bike it looks quite nice. I always say the red is the version to have if there is a red version, but you get the panniers as well, so you can carry a lot of things. Again, LED light everything, but yeah, and the cockpit feels quite far away. You feel quite cocooned in something like this. And then you have a massive windscreen, so you have lots of wind protection, so doing miles on this is actually quite comfortable, and you're going to get very little buffeting. And you get cruise control, electronic suspension, buttons here, which actually you do feel what they're doing, which is actually pretty good. Indicators as well, got your modes here. Mirrors are fairly decent size. What's this little bit of detail here? Aluminium, and a massive TFT. You can read a lot with a TFT screen like that. So well done there, Ducati. And that's nice. You can see how your brake fluid is doing. Standard cap, it is keyless. Maybe looks like it's keyless. I don't know how you'd open that. Interesting. This is the Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally. Rally, I'm guessing that must mean it has a slightly bigger fuel tank, because you see Yamaha and we've seen BMW do this. But you get the massive monoblocks, you get the 170 horsepower V4, so very fast, and a lot of torque. LED light, everything, a different colour scheme in the Rally, so I think actually looks good. So I think it looks pretty good. Gotta love that, haven't you? The gold sort of bronze finish on the engine casing and the water pump. Red frame behind the scenes, behind all the panels. That's your rectifier, which is pretty exposed, to be honest. Nice looking rear swing arm. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And you feel cocooned. You feel like you're in a bit of a cockpit. So lots and lots of wind protection thanks to the aerodynamic panels, and a very comfortable seat. Oh my god, that's squidgy. Yeah, there's loads of padding going on here. I think decent amount of padding as well on the rear seat. Panniers. This design is more off-road, so that's why it's an aluminium finish here, whereas the standard model was more like a plastic pannier. And yeah, you get this aluminium finish here, which is, I would say, is different. And then you get cruise control, electronic suspension, lots of modes to choose from. Same size TFT, so you can read white along out of that display. And keyless start. Although I'm not sure what do you do about opening this. But yeah. This is a super cruiser from Ducati, or stroke dragster. A V4 super cruiser engine, so you've got over 180 horsepower and a lot of torque. But really you only really use that the most in a straight line, because this is not a super cruiser that is about banking or leaning over or attacking the corners like a fed bike or a super sport or a super bike. This is more laid back, but you have a lot of power and you have a lot of torque, so it's a it's more like a style thing. But you've got massive monoblock brakes. You've got a water-cooled V4, so a lot of power. You've got LED light, everything. You've got this massive intake here. You've got a single-sided swing arm. And then you've got these like aluminium inserts in the wheels as well, so they look very expensive. Bit of a carbon fibre effect going on here. And then of course a rear cover, rear seat cover, because this is a super cruiser. Got a TFT, I'd say that's a pretty decent size, to be honest. And then you've got things like cruise control. You've got this like addition with the aluminium cover on the clutch reservoir, I think, and Ducati red, of course, so it looks really good. Tank protector is standard. And oh yeah, this is a where you don't need to put in a key. This is keyless start, so pretty interesting. And the seat is quite soft as well. It's like a really soft, comfortable seat. I can't read it. Anyways, what super cruiser? So this is the latest Ducati Monster, and I know the feeling with a lot of people. A lot of people miss the trellis frame from the original Monsters. There's naked and the super naked versions, but this is all about technology has moved on, and yeah, it's a Ducati that stands out, but this is not, to me, a beautiful Ducati. This is not a very beautiful naked bike, because this is the chassis, but then you've got this like integrated lights, indicators here, and it doesn't. It's like someone just went, you know. It's just kind of like, yeah. And then you got LED lights, but it's very feminine. It's small. It's cute. It's, you know what I mean. It's kind of like, yeah. Then you got massive monoblock Brembos here, Ducati red, which is the best colour for a Ducati. 111 horsepower standard, but there's more to be had there from a full system and a ECU remap. But you get pretty basic controls. You get info button. You get a TFT. I'd say that's fairly small, to be honest. So it might not be the easiest to read, but you get a standard fuel cap. You do have a seat, so you can carry a pillion with you if you want to. On a bike like this, that makes total sense. And then you have this design here, and yeah, it's okay, isn't it? And you got a double-sided swing arm. You do have Brembo. Notice that the lines here, they kind of look like braided lines, but I'm not sure if they are. But they kind of look it. And yeah, it is an agile, light, quite quick naked bike. So this is the Ducati Supersport 950S. I guess you could call this a Supersport, but the whole point of why Ducati made this is to compete with BMW, Kawasaki, Honda and Suzuki, to compete against the Z1000SX, the S1000XR, the Tenia 900s. That was the whole point of this. So think of this as just a fed sport tourer. That's what it is. It's a sport tourer. It's not really fair to be calling this a super sport. It's just a fed tourer. But you get massive Brembos. So you got a lot of stopping power. Red, Ducati red. All Ducati should be red. That's the best looking colour. That's Ducati's colour. And you even get a red frame as well. So it looks good. And you get a single-sided swing arm. I believe the S model has like the Machinini, so forged alloys, which is pretty good. And you get Öhlins rear suspension, Öhlins front, so it's really good suspension. But you get a L-twin. Now, from what I remember, it is water cooled. You get a slipper clutch as standard, so that's a good thing. And you do have a quick shifter on the S model. Rear seat cover, which you can take off, and yeah, although the handlebars are slightly kinked, they're actually fairly straight and very comfortable. Brembo master cylinder, so a lot of tech. You do get a taste, you do get a small TFT though. I mean, that does look quite small. Standard key, really good wind protection being a sport tourer, but definitely more sporty idea. And yeah, but not my thing. So this is the Hypermotor 968. So I'm assuming that means this is slightly lower, but same, most powerful, biggest single cylinder engine in a motorcycle. This is a super moto, and you get this beautiful alloy wheels. Love the gold forks, red, which is perfect. That's Ducati's colour, looks really good. And that's a single cylinder, water cooled. Nice how the exhaust is routed as well. It's quite tidy. It actually does look pretty good. Imagine trying to fit a full system to this. It would be yeah, not very easy. And you get this like aluminium swing arm, which does look really nice for a supermoto rear swing arm. And yeah, you do get a tactile seat because of the supermoto. You're only going to be able to get 1 foot down on this. Now, the thing is that the worry about that is in Britain and in Europe, we have a lot of roads with a lot of cambers, a lot of angles, and when you can only put 1 foot down, yeah, you do feel a little bit unstable on something like this. And God, if you put your foot down on gravel and you slip, literally, this Ducati could fall over, you could drop it. So that's the worry with things like this. You get like these nice switches here. It's pretty basic though, don't expect a lot because this again just a supermoto. But, and you get this small this small display here. I'm guessing that's not going to be the easiest display to read, but you get Brembo's, Brembo master cylinder. So yeah, if you're looking for a supermoto, this is interesting. So this is the Ducati Panigale 959. This is a Ducati Supersport, so it's not the 1298 or 1199. This is about, I would say about 120 horsepower, 130 horsepower, but you've got a lot of torque, you've got a lot of power, and being a super sport, it's quite agile. You've got very powerful front calipers, Brembos, you've got these lovely Showa forks, Showa arm. If you're gonna have suspension, Showa or Öhlins, they are top of the tree. So really good. Then you've got these nice integrated LED mirrors and halogen bulbs at the front though, and it looks good. You've got a slipper clutch, a standard so you can dump the clutch, which is pretty useful. Rear Brembo caliper, which is nice. Ducati red. There's definitely seat cover because your pillion's not going to be on here because this is a race bike, and again race positioning. So handlebars are not straight, but you do you have Brembo front caliper. You do get this tiny display though, but maybe it doesn't look tiny once the display is on. You get a shift indicator at the top because race bike. Lovely, look at that for machining. Oh, that's really nice. You don't get any cruise control. You don't get any luxuries like that. Again, this is a race bike, so barely just about going really fast, but not like a super bike. Beautiful design here, love the little carbon touch there. And yeah, this is just a very agile, lovely super sport. Wow, I randomly came across this. So Kawasaki ZZR 1100 cc's, inline 4, a lot of power, a lot of torque, but you don't get monoblocks. This is before that technology, but you have a lot of wind protection, and this is just a very, very fast bike. So think of the ZZR as it was kind of like a superbike, but like a really big superbike. It's not like the superbikes we know of today. So definitely could do a rear seat cover. You got this like 90s designer where they used to have these massive great big fairings, and then they would put the indicators like that, and that was pretty futuristic back then, but cool. To today's world, we're like, that's so bulky, and why did they do that? Because it's just big and bulbous. But back then it was really good. It was really good looking. You got these race bike handlebars as well, because again, this was like a Kawasaki. This was Kawasaki Superbike. And then 200 miles an hour, and then revved to just over 11,000 RPM. The thing is that Kawasaki, massive power, massive torque, superbike, but it was big and fairly heavy. So agile, but not agile like some of the other superbikes of the time. But darn, does it look good with those red graphics. It looks big, it looks imposing, and it is beautiful for the time. I love that thing. Oh my god, there's a text disc. What? So this is the Kawasaki GPZ 900R, Kawasaki superbike of the time, and this was quite a revolution because this was one of the first superbikes to be liquid cooled, where the engine was redesigned to be incredibly compact, and was also a time where Kawasaki were just starting to introduce fuel injection. The early GPZ 900Rs still had carbs, and you've got this very advanced suspension. The idea is to stop the superbike from diving, so that's why you have this gas, the system here. Quite a good caliper. It's not a monoblock, that was before then. This was a revolution at the time. Very fast, and a lot of torque as well. So if you bought this superbike, you were making a statement, which is really good. Beautiful alloys as well, and definitely needs a rear seat cover if you could even buy one. And race handlebars, superbike handlebars, rev counters, just over 10,000 RPM. Woo-hoo. And about 160 miles an hour. Yeah, this was really fast back in its day. And even little nice touches like the scoop here looks really good. That's a beautiful, beautiful superbike. And double overhead cam, and that was just a big thing back then because this is one of the first superbikes to have that technology. So it was all about more power, more speed, more torque, and wow. Who is that? So this is very cool. This is the Versys 1100, which is Kawasaki Super Venture. So you got a ton of wind protection. You do get cornering lights as well. You get LED lights, everything. Monoblock calipers, so quite powerful brakes. Inline 4, fuel injected, so very decent power, very decent torque. It's quite a fast adventure, super adventure bike, and it looks good with this redesign by Kawasaki. Very reliable, these Kawasaki engines, very reliable, very trustworthy. And the seat actually feels pretty comfortable, it feels pretty taut. But you also get things like cruise control, which is really nice. You get things like different modes, fuel maps, you get heated grips. And look at that, you get an analog rev counter. So about 10,000 RPM, but still, that's pretty good. And you do get a TFT display with it. And then that's your starter here. Lots of wind protection. So you've got the aerodynamic fairings, you've got the massive screen here, so you can do a lot of miles on this and be very comfortable and fast at the same time. So nice bike. LED indicators, LED rear lights, good rock solid engine. I think this one has a slipper clutch as well, so if you need to, you can just dump the clutch and just accelerate. Really nice. Very comfortable. Very decent fuel economy for an inline 4. About 50 mpg, I believe that. About roughly 50 mpg. And I believe that it's difficult, isn't it? Is that a quick shifter or not? This is the Kawasaki ZH2. This is Kawasaki Super Naked. You get monoblock Brembos as standard, so quite powerful brakes, LED lights, everything. And the thing here is the Super Naked engine. This is a supercharged inline 4, so you've got nearly 200 horsepower, a lot of torque, and it is frighteningly fast for a naked bike. And you've got the scoop here for the supercharger, a nice rear swing arm, quick shifter as standard, and is a beast. You do get things like cruise control on the Super Naked, which is always pretty useful, different power modes, a decent sized TFT display. But it's weird because with the ZH2 the cockpit feels quite far away, which is something that I noticed about the ZH2. But also the issue is the weight. This is a heavy Super Naked. So this, although it's nearly 200 horsepower standard, it's pretty much 240 or 220 kilograms. That's heavy, and when you hold this Super Naked up, you notice the weight, which is a bit of a worry. But wow, it's magnificent when you get to see an engine like this, supercharged engine in a bike. Don't worry about MPG. You didn't buy this for MPG. This is the ZX-10R Superbike by Kawasaki. Kawasaki Superbike, the only way to describe riding a ZX-10R or ZX-10RR is you are literally riding a warplane. It's like you're riding a jet. It's like you are riding a jet fighter. You are riding a warplane on the road and the racetrack. Frighteningly fast. You've got massive Brembos up front, so lots of stopping power. Shower, which is a very interesting technology from Kawasaki. It's very, very good. Very good stuff for superbikes. And this is the latest colour scheme for 2025, and it stands out. The ZX-10, oh my god, it is sexy, sensational, gorgeous, beautiful, stunning from every angle. It looks phenomenal.
That is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen.
It is a sculpture. It's like an F-16. It really is. Slipper clutch, so you can dump the clutch. Just over 200 horsepower with the ram air system. So it is frighteningly fast with all that torque. Brembo, that's interesting. Brembo master cylinder. Electronic automatic steering dampener by Öhlins. TFT display with shift light, as again you're riding a super bike, but also cruise control on a super bike. So that's pretty useful. And got the rear seat cover. The only negative is when you look back here, yeah, you're thinking aquaprovic, oh yeah, but oh no, where's the rubber bung? You can't remove the baffle. That's the baffle, and you can't take it out. Huh. Shit.
Because it hasn't got the gear lever. The NC is it?
This is the Kawasaki ZX6R, Kawasaki Super Sport. So what this means is that she's a fast race bike, and you're more at the normal sort of road speeds that you would ride on, which is pretty good. Love the colour scheme by Kawasaki. It's very sharp, it looks interesting. Kawasaki Racing Green, which is perfect. 636 inline-4 monoblock calipers, so you've got really good brakes here. And LED lights front, LED indicators, and it is agile. This is an agile race bike. Being small, 636, there's more power and torque to be had with a full system with no baffle and remapping the onboard computer, and you do get a quick shifter as standard. The rear swing arm, that looks pretty nice. Rear seat cover, definitely a must on a race bike, and fairly comfortable. Controls, you're not going to get a massive amount of controls, but the switch gear feels nice and tactile, feels actually quite nice. Very agile. You've got a TFT display here, which what I found was a lot going on here. So not the easiest TFT to read. That's your fuel cap redesign here by Kawasaki with this shape in particular, and it looks sensational. It looks beautiful, really nice from every angle. It looks interesting, it's fast, and this will give you fairly decent fuel economy, as it's not the ZX10R Superbike. So this is a race bike with power and torque, also going to give you fairly decent. This is the Kawasaki Z500 SE. This is a mid-weight naked bike. It's going to give you good fuel economy, decent power, decent torque, which is really good. You get anti-lock brakes as standard, green wheels, which is a nice touch, green frame from Kawasaki, nice touch, parallel twin, so tried and tested engine, pretty reliable, just a good engine really, and LED lights are standard, so that's pretty good. You do get things like, so basic controls, your pass light, your main beam. You get a TFT display as standard, so you get a bit of information there, which is quite nice. And a decent, comfortable seat. You've got a seat for a pillion as well, so you can carry your girlfriend or your wife if she would like to come with you on your Z500. And yeah, it's just a nice bike, really. I think it's good and a good choice. This is the Yamaha XSR 900 GP. So think of this as a classic race bike. This is the hunk back to the classic race bike with the way the fairings are, the shape of the fairings. You do get monoblock brakes, but Yamaha style, and this is Superbike style as well, to make replacing the brake pads a lot faster. KYB front forks, and slipper clutch is standard. This is a triple engine, makes about 120 horsepower, CP3 engine. Obviously there's more power and torque to be had with a full system and remapping the onboard computer, but you get a quick shifter as standard, and it looks very interesting. This looks like an expensive race bike, even though it's not necessarily an expensive race bike. It's kind of interesting. But if you didn't know anything about motorcycles, you'd go, wow, that's an expensive thing you've got there, like a 40-year-old race bike, but it isn't. Love the frame. It's like a silver aluminium frame, and classic colours from the past. Really interesting here with the racing colour scheme. Love the wheels. This is again a hunk back to the past. You get a pretty generous TFT display, good size. That's going to tell you quite a bit of information. And you get things like cruise control, you get different modes to select, things that you can do. Not sure about these. You can't see a lot through these mirrors. They're very small. They only cover some of your arm. But I think that's just down to racing, isn't it? It's just a racing style. This is the Suzuki GSX S1000 GT. It's a bit of a mouthful, but you do get Brembo monoblock calipers. This is Suzuki Sport Tourer, so it's trying to compete with like the Z1000SX, the BMW S1000XR. You do get LED lights and you do get LED indicators, but I'm not sure about the looks. Compared to the Z1000SX, the Z1000SX is a lot more elegant. It's got those beautiful like angel lights at the front, whereas this is like Roger Rabbit. It's like a cartoon. But yeah, you get a lot of wind protection thanks to those fairings. You've got a lot of wind protection and screen as well. This is an inline 4, so it's about 150 horsepower and quite a bit of torque. I think these do come with quick shifters. You can see the Suzuki engine is an older design because everything is a bit more bulkier. It's not as compact and as refined as the Kawasaki 1000cc engine, the 1100. So yeah, different design here. Swing arm, I don't like it. It's just looks like an afterthought, but comfortable seat. You do get a TFT as well. You do get a shift light, and you can fit panniers to these as well. Paintwork, lacquer's really smooth. Paint looks really good. You do get cruise control, so that's really useful, and then different modes to select. And then your starter, and yeah, it is a nice sport tourer, but I definitely think Kawasaki have done a much better job. So this one is the Kawasaki 1100 SX, and this is the SC version. So you get uprated Brembo monoblock calipers, so a lot of stopping power, and also a different colour scheme. The metallic looks really good on the Kawasaki. It sparkles in the sunlight and it's just very beautiful. You get LED lights as standard, LED indicators as standard, lots of bearings as well, so a lot of wind protection, which is pretty good. And that colour scheme just looks sensational. Even the metallic in the green tank, it really sparkles. Lovely. A lot of power and a lot of torque, about 140, but this is a very fast sport tourer. So you will see this overtake you with ease. You get a slipper clutch as standard, so if you need to dump the clutch you can, which is pretty good. Also get, it's like, yeah, Öhlins rear shock, so that's a nice touch. And it's very comfortable. You got a lot of wind protection with the 1100 SX. You also get the ability to adjust the screen, so you can have it more tilted forward or more back if you want to. And you even get cruise control, which is a must on a sport tourer, and heated grips, which is awesome. So this bike does a lot of things. It is heavy though, so just be careful when you're moving around at really low speeds, like in a car park, but it's a very fast sport tourer. And the seat as well, that feels pretty good. TFT as standard. So this is the Kawasaki H2 SX. This is a super tourer by Kawasaki. Massive Brembos up front, so you have a lot of stopping power. This model has the radar assist for the cruise control. You've got cornering lights, LED lights, LED everything, LED indicators, rear lights, the whole lot. Also with the SE version, you get this beautiful green colour scheme, and the green tank as well. Quick shifter as standard, which is really good. Nice stitching here with the C as well. I think that's quite a nice touch. Ninja, this is not a ZX-10, this is not a ZX-6. But yeah, Kawasaki's still using Ninja on a Super Tourer. But you get things like heat grips, you get things like cruise control, which is a must. You get different power modes, different selector modes. You do also have keyless start. You get this wicked, massive TFT as well. So you got a lot of information from that. You've got a power assist port, Brembo front master cylinder. That's your start, and the grips feel good. They feel thin, which is interesting. They feel thin, but nice. And you do get a centre stand on a Super Tourer, which is different. Radar assist at the back, LED as well here. But this is heavy. That's the thing with the H2SX. It is a heavy Super Tourer. So manoeuvring this, you just got to take your time because of the weight. But the main thing is the supercharged, nearly 200 horsepower and all that torque. This is a rapid. This is the Yamaha R1 Superbike 60th anniversary edition. So you have nearly 200 horsepower and all that torque. Riding an R1 is like you're riding a jet fighter, you're riding a ball plane off the road and the racetrack. Frighteningly fast. Gold wheels, Superbike calipers, monoblocks, so lots of stopping power. Gold forks, love that. It's colour scheme, sensational. It looks sexy, it looks very interesting, it looks gorgeous, it looks so beautiful. It makes such an impression, it looks really nice. It looks sensual from every angle. Even Yamaha put gold on their logo for the anniversary edition. And being a race bike, so you've got a slipper clutch as standard, so you can dump the clutch if you need to. And quite a powerful rear brake, nice swing arm. Definitely needs a seat cover. Definitely needs a seat cover, because again, this is a super bike, so no pillion's going to be able to hold on. And a race bike as well. Love the colour scheme. The colour scheme actually looks pretty good. TFT display as standard, and that's your on-off button, the menu buttons. You've got different select modes there. Frighteningly fast. Being a race bike, after 2 hours, you are going to need to stop and just take a break, because your back will be hurting, your neck will be hurting, everything's going to be hurting. Everything's going to be hurting you. So, yeah. What a race bike. Oh, that's not going to be cheap to tax or insure.
No, this honestly,
This is the Kawasaki 1100 or the 1000, but SX. But this is it's the 1100 SX. This is the anniversary edition. So this color scheme is harking back to the 80s Kawasaki's. That's why it's got those 80 retro graphics from back then. If you get monoblock calipers as standard, they're very good. You've got these like nice touches here. The alloys look really nice. Inline 4 1000cc, very fast sport tourer. This will just overtake you with ease, and you can cover a lot of distance and you'll be pretty comfortable, because the handlebars, they have a slight kink to them, so you've got that. You do have a bit of sportiness, but they're mostly straight, and so comfortable. You get a slipper clutch as standard, so you can dump the clutch if you need to. An adjustable rear shock, alloys still, that looks really nice, and you get a TFT, so you get quite a bit of information from that. And cruise control, which is a must on a sport tourer, which is really useful. Comfortable handlebars, the grips feel nice. Adjustable front screen as well, and LED rear lights, LED indicators. So it's got all the modern touches, and these are popular. Really nice. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Because if you compare, say, the 1000 SX to the Super Tourer, different looks, isn't it? This is more elegant and beautiful. So some people don't get on with this look. I understand. So this is the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT, and you do get monoblock calipers, so you got lots of stopping power, and gold forks, which look good. This is in red. Good looking bike. This is Yamaha Touring, so this is a touring bike. CP3 engine, so you get a triple, 120 horsepower, quite a lot of torque. So this is quite a fast tourer, stroke adventure bike. And you get a lot of wind protection because you've got a massive great big screen. You have got all those aerodynamic panels, got nice stitching on the seat there as well, and you do get multiple displays here to tell you all sorts of different information, and you do get things like cruise control, which is pretty neat. So you've got that, again, LED lights pretty much everywhere. And it's interesting. It's interesting. This is very comfortable. You can do a massive amount of miles on this bike because it's very comfortable. You see the seat's quite wide as well. It's flat but wide, so you can accommodate lots of different riders. And the switchgear feels good. You can definitely know what the switchgear is doing with a pair of motorcycle gloves. So pretty good. You've got a menu toggle here. Pretty good MPG because it's only a 900cc engine, but quite fast, plenty of torque, and yeah, I think it's gonna do you well. And you can get little ports here. Little ports. And this one is the same, just in white. I think the white does look better because you get the gold wheels. So. This is the Yamaha Tania World Rally. This is the 700 CP2 parallel twin. So gives you really good fuel economy and decent power, decent torque. You even get Brembo front caliper. They're not monoblocks. Color scheme looks really interesting. It's quite interesting to look at. It makes an impression. It's an interesting color scheme. KYB forks over the standard forks, so quite high performance suspension. And being the Rally, it has dual fuel tanks, which is very different. When do you ever see dual fuel tanks? And you get a steering dampener by Öhlins, so very high performance. Engine quite compact. You do get an Aquaprovic with the World Rally Edition, but no removable baffles. Paintwork, quite good, feels quite smooth, but you've got marks here from people getting their feet over on the bike. These are like boot marks, but it's one of those things, isn't it? Because it's a very tall bike. This is off-road. This is off-road adventure bike. Got a menu system here, on, off, and just the controls are pretty basic. Because again, it's just a off-road bike. But yeah, you could probably cross Africa. Not all of Africa, but maybe a bit of it. But the price, oh my god, that's expensive. This is the Junior Super Sport by Kawasaki, the ZX4 RR. Kawasaki green, so Kawasaki Racing colours. This is the colour scheme for 2025, and it looks really good. The thing about this is that this is a inline 4 that revs to over 15,000 RPM with a ram air system. You have shower forks, which are very good. Starter. Controls are pretty basic because this is only a junior super sport. But you got lap timer, you got dip beam, main beam, pass light, green shock, I like that touch, rear seat cover, and it's like a really nimble, really small race bike that, because it's only a 400 race engine, you literally can be doing 30 miles an hour and you can be revving the bejesus out of this and it just sounds epic. I mean, that's the thing. But for the cost of buying one of these, you know, that's also the thing. You could have a ZX6R Super Sport, or you can have a ZX10R Superbike from maybe a bit more, you know, and that's the problem. This is a very expensive junior Super Sport. It's phenomenal in what Kawasaki have done here, but it's the cost. It's the cost. TFT display, redesigned here by Kawasaki, and very cool. It's still very cool and very interesting. So this is the Yamaha R7. Think of this as a junior. Think of this as a super sport by Yamaha. Parallel twin. You do get monoblock calipers, so you got a lot of stopping power. Color scheme looks really good, and this is quite an agile, lightweight race bike. So that's pretty good. And again, the paintwork looks really good. Definitely needs a rear seat cover. Definitely. Good roll. That rolled so long. And that looks really good. Being a super sport, you're not going to get a lot of controls. So you've got your main beam, your pass light, indicators, reset, select. You get a TFT as well. It's not the biggest TFT, and it's quite in the R7. But hopefully that will give you some decent information. Forks look good, like this aluminium design here. And yeah, lots of wind protection. Riding this after 2 hours, by God, you're going to want to take a break. You're just going to want to take a break, relax, chill, just relax. Absolutely, you're going to be tired.
Bright stars, how is it life go wandering far until I found a light.
Thanks for watching. It was really cool just to be able to see all these motorcycles of every type, of every class, from super bikes, super sports, super touros, cruisers, super cruisers, naked bikes, super nakeds. A motorcycle for everybody. And you can get a coffee, you can get food before you head home or go on your ride. They're pretty good. Thanks for watching.
Until I found a lighthouse in your heart, shining like a beacon.